There was no dramatic speech, no tearful goodbye, no emotional announcement telling the world what this moment meant. There was only a young woman walking quietly through an airport, a smile on her face, a backpack over one shoulder, a few waves to the people filming her, and then she disappeared toward the departure gate. To most people, it looked like nothing, just another athlete catching another flight. But if you looked closely, something felt different. Because Alexandra Eala wasn't just leaving the Philippines, she was walking away from the biggest celebration of her life. For an entire week, she had been everywhere. Malls packed with fans just to catch a glimpse of her. Children lining up for hours for one photo. Families waiting patiently just to say thank you to the woman who had rewritten Philippine tennis history. At Malacanang Palace, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. personally welcomed her home and handed her a presidential citation. Brands that believed in her before the world even knew her name stood beside her, celebrating. Cameras followed her everywhere. Every face she saw was smiling. For one short moment, an entire country stopped just to celebrate one athlete. But airport gates don't care about celebrations, because eventually, every hero has to go back to work. And that's what this story is really about. Not the applause, not the photos, not even Wimbledon. This is the story of what happens after the dream comes true. For years, Alexandra Eala dreamed of moments like this. She left home young to train at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain. While other teenagers were spending weekends with friends, Alex was learning how to survive alone in one of the harshest environments in world tennis. No guarantees, no promise the sacrifice would ever pay off. Just thousands of lonely practice sessions, countless flights, and years chasing a dream that felt impossibly far away. Then came Wimbledon. On the biggest stage in tennis, Alex played the tournament of her life. She became the first Filipina to reach the fourth round of a Grand Slam. And then she did something almost nobody predicted. She beat defending champion Iga Swiatek, one of the biggest upsets of the entire tournament. Her ranking shot up into the world's top 30. Suddenly, she wasn't just representing the Philippines anymore. She was inspiring it. Back home, kids showed up dressed like a young Alex, ruffled socks, bright shoes, everything that reminded people where her journey began. Parents thanked her for giving their children someone to believe in. For millions of Filipinos, Alex had stopped being just a tennis player. She had become proof that someone from the Philippines could stand shoulder to shoulder with the best in the world. But symbols don't get tired. People do. And no matter how unforgettable that homecoming was, it could never last. Because professional tennis doesn't wait for anyone. The confetti disappears, the interviews end, the banners come down, and the tour moves on with or without you. Only days after being celebrated as the face of Philippine tennis, Alex was packing another suitcase. Grass season was over. Now came something completely different: hard courts, long flights, new cities, new opponents, and almost no time to breathe. That airport became the perfect symbol of this shift. 1 week earlier, she stood on center court in front of millions. Now she was quietly walking toward another boarding gate. That's life on the WTA Tour. The calendar never slows down for anyone. One breakthrough tournament doesn't earn you a vacation. It earns you something far harder: expectations. Because once you've shown the world what you can do, everyone expects you to do it again. And that's exactly where Alex's real journey begins. Not long ago, Alex walked into tournaments with almost no pressure. She was the dangerous underdog, the player who could shock someone ranked far above her. People knew her name, but few built game plans around stopping her. That has completely changed. Right now, coaches around the world are studying every second of her Wimbledon run. How she attacked Swiatek, how she handled pressure, how she moved on grass, how she served when it mattered most. Every strength she showed during that magical 2 weeks is now being picked apart by players determined to stop her before she builds even more momentum. That's the hidden cost of success. The bigger the breakthrough, the smaller the surprise. Before Wimbledon, Alex was chasing champions. Now the champions are preparing for Alex. And that changes everything. Because becoming a star is hard. Staying one is even harder. The next chapter of her journey doesn't start somewhere new. In many ways, it starts on ground she already knows, not the Philippines' hard courts. Long before Wimbledon made her a global name, Alex had already built her reputation here. She won the US Open Girls Singles title, becoming the first Filipina to win a Grand Slam Junior Championship. Years later, she returned to New York and made history again, becoming the first Filipina to win a Grand Slam main draw singles match. Those wins weren't luck. They were signs hard courts have always suited her aggressive, fearless style, which makes her return to North America feel completely different this time. This isn't unfamiliar territory, it's the exact ground where her biggest dreams first came alive. But she won't walk in as an unknown teenager chasing history anymore. She'll walk in as one of the top 30 players in the world. And for the first time in her career, the entire tennis world will be watching to see what she does next. The biggest difference between the Alex who arrived at Wimbledon and the Alex who boarded that flight out of Manila isn't ranking points, it's perception. For years, Alex played with nothing to lose. Every upset felt like a bonus. But Wimbledon changed the conversation completely. She's no longer a promising young talent. She's the Filipina who stunned a defending Wimbledon champion on center court. A top 30 player, a legitimate threat. That respect comes with a price. Because from now on, every tournament asks the same question. Was Wimbledon the beginning or was it the peak? Alex knows the answer won't come from interviews. It won't come from another homecoming parade. It will come one match at a time. That's why, when reporters asked about her US Open goals, she refused to predict how far she'd go. Instead, she gave the answer that reveals how champions actually survive success, round by round. Not quarterfinals, not the trophy, just the next match. Because in tennis, looking too far ahead is usually the fastest way to lose the one right in front of you. That flight out of Manila wasn't taking Alex to one tournament, it was dropping her straight into one of the toughest stretches of the entire season. First, Washington, D.C., the Mubadala D.C. Open, where almost every match feels like a Grand Slam knockout round. Then, Toronto, bigger field, higher stakes, zero margin for error. And almost immediately after, Cincinnati, flights, hotels, practice courts, recovery, media, then another flight, another hotel, another opponent. The schedule never lets a player breathe, and every single match matters because it all leads to one destination, the US Open, the same tournament where Alex first announced herself to the world. But she won't walk this road alone. Waiting for her in Washington is someone who has already lived every bit of what Alex is now facing: Venus Williams, 7-time Grand Slam champion, Olympic gold medalist, one of the most respected names the sport has ever produced. Their doubles partnership shocked tennis fans when it first came together, reaching the quarterfinals in Bad Homburg. Now they're reuniting again. On paper, it's just doubles. But underneath, it's something much bigger, because every practice with Venus is a lesson in how to carry pressure that never fully goes away. Some things can't be taught by a coach. Sometimes they can only be passed down by a legend. Maybe that's exactly why the Hooter called them a dream team. The hardest matches in tennis aren't always played inside a stadium. Some are played inside hotel rooms, inside empty practice courts, inside long, silent flights between countries, moments fans never see. Alex had just come home to a country that treated her like a hero. She hugged her family, met thousands of fans, felt an entire nation celebrate her. Then, almost as fast as she arrived, she had to leave again. That's the hidden price of chasing greatness. The people you love become phone calls. Home becomes a place you visit instead of a place you live. To most fans, Alex's new top 30 ranking is just a number. But inside professional tennis, that number changes everything. It decides seedings, draws, sponsorships, opportunities. Success opens doors. Staying successful is what keeps them open. Alex has said she wants to inspire the next generation. Looking at her homecoming, it's already happening. Kids dressed like her, parents thanking her for showing Filipino athletes that dreams don't have borders. She's become proof that a Filipina can compete with the best in the world. But with that comes weight. Every time she steps on court now, she knows millions are watching, not expecting perfection, but believing in her. And belief can lift you, or it can become one more thing to carry. Washington, Toronto, Cincinnati, then New York. Each stop builds toward the same 2 weeks, the US Open, where Alex once shocked the world by becoming the first Filipina to win a Grand Slam main draw match. This year, she returns completely differently, not as an outsider hoping to surprise anyone, but as a seeded player. Someone everyone knows, someone everyone respects, someone everyone wants to beat. And that airport video suddenly means something completely different now. It wasn't the end of a celebration. It was the beginning of a test. The applause is over. The history books already recorded Wimbledon. Now comes something harder, proving she belongs among the very best. Maybe this is the season Alex Eala becomes one of tennis's biggest global stars. Or maybe she'll learn what every great champion eventually learns, that success brings a pressure even heavier than failure. Either way, the next chapter starts now. Remember that young woman walking quietly through the airport, smiling, waving, calm, as she disappeared beyond the gate? She wasn't just boarding another flight. She was leaving behind the cheers, the celebrations, the comfort of home, walking straight into packed stadiums, impossible expectations, and the toughest stretch of her career. Because this time, Alex Eala isn't chasing the world's attention. She already has it. Now she has to prove she can keep it. And somewhere above the Pacific Ocean, as that plane carried her back toward America, one thing became certain. The girl in that airport video wasn't just starting another tournament. She was stepping into the biggest challenge of her career. This time, the whole world is watching.